What is your job here at Out of Africa?
So I am actually the Hoofstock manager here at the park, which means I not only manage all the keepers that take care of all of our Hoofstock, which are animals like the giraffes, zebra, rhino, antelope, even our ostrich here, but I also help to coordinate the daily care of these animals, as well as our African bush safaris, which allows our guests to be able to come in on a tour vehicle and meet all these animals up close and personal, including these giraffes.
How long have you worked with giraffes?
I actually started my career with giraffes here at Out of Africa almost 10 years ago now. And in that time, I've worked with our oldest giraffe the entire time. His name is Pilgrim. He actually just celebrated his 23rd birthday. And then we have Temba and his little brother. I have been here at the park since the day that they arrived with us, which was at the very end of 2019. So I've been able to create a special bond with these boys as they have grown up and matured with us.
Have you always known you wanted to work with giraffes?
Actually, I have not. So I have always known that I wanted to work with animals. That has been in my mind ever since I've had my first memories as a kiddo. However, my route I thought was going to be completely different than what I went. So since I was a young kid, I actually was super passionate about tigers. Everything tiger is what I, wanted to be involved with. And even through high school and going into college, my dream was still work with tigers. And it wasn't until I came here to the park. I was actually originally hired as a super mock tour guide here, and I kind of got adopted in by the Hoofstock team. So that means that I got to work with them in between my tours, and they were training me up with these animals. As I matured into an actual keeper position, I actually decided I was so in love with giraffes. I fell in love with these guys so much I could not leave, and I know that I'll be working with them the rest of my life as long as my body allows me to.
Can you tell me your favorite giraffe fact?
There are way too many. I don't know if I can tell you one, but how about I give you two really cool ones?
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so one of my favorite facts I love telling on tour is that their sleep life is how I wish I could actually create my sleep life to be. I would get so much done in life. So these guys will actually only fully sleep laying down on the ground with their head maybe tucked around on their side for about half an hour a day. That is it. They're just simply too big. If they get snuck up on by a pride of lions or any other carnivore, there's too much weight in these giraffes' bodies to be able to get up and run away with coordination without tripping. So instead, in order to help them out, these guys can literally shut down half the brain at one time. That brain or half that's shut down will rest, and the other half keeps their body kind of semi-alert. Their eyes will still be open, their ears are kind of folded back. They can even still be chewing their cud, right, or that regurgitation of their food, but they are technically in sleep mode. Now, the other fact I absolutely love, these guys have a 25-pound heart. It's massive. And they do have one of the highest blood pressures out of any mammal in the animal kingdom. In fact, their blood pressure is about twice the amount of a human. So technically, when these animals bend down to the ground to get a drink of water or investigate anything, whether it might be food or just something that looks interesting to them, they should pass out or black out, right? Have you ever stood up too fast where you black out? That should happen to these guys, but it doesn't. And, the reason being if they blacked out or passed out every time they got a drink of water, that would just be unfortunate. So in order to help, these guys actually have a specialized valve system in their body, especially their legs. And as they lean their head lower than the level of their heart, these valves will close shut, ceasing all blood flow back to the brain. They also have a specialized, essentially like a sponge in their brain that absorbs any blood in that part of their bodies. So it just stops all blood flow. As soon as they pick their heads up and it goes higher than their heart, that sponge will squish all that blood back down, and that will open up the valves in their veins, allowing that blood to start flowing continuously again. In fact, it is so specialized, NASA has actually researched it to create spacesuits for astronauts.
Why are you so passionate about your work with giraffes?
So as I mentioned earlier, from the moment I laid eyes on these guys and started working with them, I just absolutely fell in love with these animals. So one of the best things of my day-to-day task is being able to share my love for them and show all of our guests every day just how amazing these guys actually are. We allow our guests to get up close and personal, where you guys can feed them and even kiss them if you are feeling brave enough. We allow people to put their leaves, their acacia leaves that we hand out, right in their mouths, and our giraffes will take them from them. But I also love telling people and educating people about what's going on with these guys out in the wild, especially with their conservation status. A lot of people are more made aware of other charismatic megafauna. So big animals like your rhinos, your elephants, your gorillas. If you kind of ask the average person, most people kind of know that, yeah, their numbers are dwindling out in the wild, but not a lot of people have been made aware that giraffes are also falling in their population numbers until at least recently. But because there's not a lot that is known about it, scientists are actually calling it a silent extinction, which is just heartbreaking in my opinion. But their wild population numbers have actually dropped 30% in the last 40 years. So with that being said, like I said, I just love being able to show people about them and tell them about organizations like Giraffe Conservation Foundation. So we also call them GCF, but they are the only NGO in the world that solely contributes to giraffe conservation and research. And not a lot of research has been done on them until more recent years. So being able to just raise awareness and tell people and educate people why we need to save these guys and, you know, out in the wild is kind of just my life's purpose.
How can the general public help with giraffe conservation?
So one of the best ways, in my opinion, if people are able, is to help contribute directly to organizations like GCF that will have boots on the ground and directly affect their numbers out in the wild. Giving any type of contribution, monetary contribution or donation to these organizations not only helps support anti-poaching units, but it also goes into research, genetic research, and why their numbers are dwindling. But it also helps with education. They work closely with a lot of children, especially over in Africa, that one day will be the next generation to help contribute and save these guys, whether it be anti-poaching or becoming conservationists or veterinarians. Now, GCF has also put out a international holiday that we call World Giraffe Day, which is celebrated on June 21st of every single year, which is also the longest day or night of the year, depending on what hemisphere you do come from. So we do celebrate the longest land animal on the longest day or night, but it's just a day to help raise awareness for these guys and, again, help educate and tell people what they're all about and what's happening to them out in the wild. Now, our department specifically here at Out of Africa for the month of June will be hosting a t-shirt fundraiser. So I've got this lovely fun color of an I Kiss a Giraffe shirt. We're going to be putting out 4 summer edition colors, bright fun colors for you guys to purchase. They will be sold at the African Bush Safari line, like I mentioned, for the month of June. They'll be $33 plus tax, and all of the proceeds, 100% of it, is going to go directly donated to Giraffe Conservation Foundation to help these guys out in the wild. So your money will go far with it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Jessica. I'm going to let you get back to it.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.